how they say, you don't bring your wife to the restaurant on the same night that you bring your mistress, and you don't bring your mistress on the same
Oh,
night that you bring your girlfriend.
R. Kelly
They
said
each have
that
their
shit.
own day, right?
R. Kelly said that shit, man. And I'm a flirt. Yeah.
I'm a flirt. Okay, man. Okay, I see you. I see you. So the whole ideal is like, I don't know what's right, what's wrong, why. I think that's what I'm trying to figure out. Because we say polygamy, and it's not even polygamy, right? It's something else I can't pronounce, like polyamory, polyamory. You know what? What I don't
I
even
mean,
know.
I tried to tell you. I don't
You know
know.
what? Just frap that. Here's what we'll do. We'll go find somebody who knows what the frap is going on, man. Hang on. All right, all right, all right. Well, welcome back to Urban Academia. We are now in full force and in full effect. I'm your host, J-Zilla, as usual. Got my guy, Chulo Rich, but we want to introduce you all, the audience, to Miss at Melanie Legacy. How are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm doing good. Hi. So it's Melanin Legacy on Instagram. And a little bit about me. I guess I'll keep it to the topic. I'm team poly. But my poly is not traditional poly because I'm bisexual. So in traditional poly, normally the women don't come together. But in my poly house, that's what will take place.
Ooh, that's
Ooh,
not
I
a lot of
like that.
arguing. That sounds like a lot of arguing in one house. Well, I'm
No.
just jumping the gun. I might be.
Well, I don't think it'll be a lot of arguing as long. Well, I mean, you have to think about it because it's not just two women in the house together. There's a dominant male energy there. So there. Of course, even in monogamy, there's arguing, but it's not going to be how people perceive it to be unless you're picking partners for the wrong reason. You're not making sure the household is meshing together. Then, of course, but that's even in monogamy. If you pick the wrong partner, you pick a woman for the wrong reasons, you're probably going to have some issues.
I thought you meant it was three women in the house. I'm like, oh shit.
Three women in the house.
I mean,
That gotta
just
be a
women.
that gotta be a
I
pretty
mean,
big
just women.
house.
No man, just women. That's what I thought you meant.
Oh no, I would
Ooh.
never do that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would never do
That's
that.
what I thought you meant.
I'm not a lesbian. I'm bisexual. I would never just be with a woman.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've gotten started right off the bat. So right now, I can think right now of about 13, 14 questions just on that. But I think we'll be better served if you just give us a breakdown of what are the different types of it's not polygamy, right? Because polygamy is when one guy
Polyamory? Is that it?
is married to several women, right?
Yes, and then there's polygamy, polygyny, and then polyamory. So the whole history of the other ones, I don't know too much. I just know one is where the man is with multiple women, and then there is all partners with all partners, and then there's women with multiple men. But I mean, I don't like to count that one because to me, a woman with multiple men is a train. So I guess you could say even in the poly world, there's things
Oh,
that
here
we
we
can
go.
agree on.
Here we go. See, we had another young lady who's going to come on and just give her side of things, but I like how you said that some things you think are not a part, or I guess not looked upon with favorable eyes, even in your community. So
Yeah,
talk to me a little bit. Why can't was it polyandry?
yeah. I think
Polyandry? Right. So
polyandry.
one woman, multiple men. Why
Yes,
is that just a big no in your mind?
because a woman is not supposed to be laying down with multiple men. You're not supposed to be taking in multiple shafts. Shall I say? I don't even understand how a woman in her pH balance is handling that. Honestly, with the sex drive of a man and you have more than one, I don't see how you're managing that. You gotta be damn like must have two vaginas attached to you or something. Something
Ooh.
getting stuck somewhere on a regular basis, and that's just too much work.
So we talked a little bit on our show. Oh, hang on, Rich. Were you trying to say something? You were muted there, buddy.
I just said they got too many women to do it too often. They can't take two of them.
Exactly. They
Can't
can't
do
even please one man. He complaining and not satisfied. That's why he's supposedly cheating on you. But anytime a man says he wants more than one woman, women usually follow it up with, well, if you're gonna have more than one woman, I'm gonna have more than one man. Like, and we're not equals. First of all, that shouldn't even be in your mind.
Do you mind if I ask you, where does this line of thinking come from? Is it scientific, traditional? Is it religious? What makes you think the way that you think?
I guess I would say all of the above. Um, I won't say I grew up in a poly household, but I grew up in a household where I lived with my mother and my father. But my daddy was married to a wife that lived outside of the home. So he bought her a house, somewhere else away. But the only reason why I knew about her is because, my mom, of course, was upset. And so, she announced it to the house. But even I remember being a child and I was like, well, okay, my daddy has another wife. Like, nothing about my childhood changed. He still came home and tucked me in every night. I still got everything that I wanted. So if you're able to provide for two different spaces, what really is the problem? And then as I got older, I've been in relationships. I've actually been with someone who was married, and he was trying to juggle three of us, like outside of the home. And then me and the wife didn't get along. So I was never invited into the home, but I was able to make it where he brought the other one into the home where it would free up some more of his time for himself and for us as well. So I can't say that every experience that I've had has always just been like, oh my God, this is amazing. But through those experiences, I've been able to see and understand, for one, that it's in a man's natural nature to be with more than one woman, and that it can be done when done correctly, and that it's important to pick the right group of people in order for it to thrive on many levels for everyone.
So, would you say that a polyamorous relationship is something that is probably the majority of people should be doing?
Uh, you mean a man with multiple women? Yes, I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
so. Especially in the Black community. If you think about it, rest in peace to Kevin Samuels, but I mean, he's even stated, like, with the type of man that women say that they want, you're going to have to share. I mean, if you guys want your individual man, then stop expecting a man to come uh, already built, already accomplished, because those type of men come with multiple women. It's a natural scent that they're giving off to be able to attract that type of lifestyle. And then it's like you try to change him, or you're upset that that's how he is, but he has every right to be that way. And if you want a man that's monogamous by your controlling, I'm not saying that a man can't be poly by nature, but be monogamous if you're one hell of a woman. But if you want to control him being monogamous, then you don't want an alpha male. You want a beta male. You want someone to control. You want a child. And usually that doesn't come with a man that's pretty successful. He's not going to let his woman run him. So,
That's an interesting way of putting it, right? He's not going to let the woman run him. I want to go back to the idea that most people, you believe that most men should or just naturally built to have multiple partners. I'm wondering, where exactly are you getting that from? Like, is it the fact that like kings of old had more than one wife in the Bible? Or are we talking about just throughout like Eastern Europe? What exactly leads you to believe that the natural order of things, right? Because even in nature, we see cases for all kinds of things, right? All kinds of things. Like, but there's also polyandry, right? In a case where a lioness may have sex with multiple men, just to give that man a sort of security that this cub that she's having could be mine, so I'm not going to eat it and try to replace it. So where are you finding that is a natural thing to for one man and multiple women and not the reverse?
um, well, that's a good point. So, what I will do is shift it towards, it's not a vast majority of women that probably carry themselves on that level. I know they exist. I know there's women out there that exist that sleep with multiple men. Um, you reference the animal kingdom, but we are not the animal kingdom. I know it's something of similarity, but in the animal kingdom, you stated a specific reason on why she's doing that. That's to protect her cub. Women out here just fucking multiple men for no reason because there's something missing in yourself. You're trying to fill a void in yourself. That's why you're taking in so many different partners. They're filling different voids in you for different reasons. That's why you have different partners. Maybe you can't fulfill everything that you're seeking in this one man. So you need several of them. But yet and still, to me, that's something in you. Maybe you need therapy or something of that nature. Now, in that same breath, there is alpha women for whatever reason, whatever journey they've been on in their life to make them be able to thrive in that type of lifestyle. Then, kudos to you. But I still don't think the female body is designed to take in multiple partners, even if you are able to manage it. You're taking in, when a man is ejaculating inside of you, you're taking on all his feelings, you're taking on all his other partners. Like, he's basically controlling your moods once you let him in you unprotected. So how you taking in his moods, you're taking in his moods, you're taking in his moods, you fucking unstable. Like there's no other way to go about it. Like, everything about your personality, your aura, it doesn't seem to be, in my head, something that would be desirable across the board. What was the other part of the question you asked me?
No, we're going down a different path, but I like this path we're going on. So I don't understand this one part. It's not possible for a woman, but it is possible for a man.
Yeah.
And you're saying just because they're taking in feelings, are we talking scientifically, or you're saying like religiously, you're taking on the seed and the history of the seed, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's both. I mean, science and history go hand in hand. Science and spirituality goes hand in hand. They try to separate the two, but I mean, we have amazing sex, and a life is formed within the womb from that. So you can't tell me that there's something in between all of that we can't put into words. But I feel that it's a man is not, nobody inserting a man. A man is doing all the inserting. A man, and I feel like a man is more stable to be able to handle it. Women can't handle their emotions as it is already. Why you want to take in so many other emotions?
Well, hang on. So here's what we've discovered on the show before, right? That it's not this idea that men are this way and women are that way. There are masculine men and women, and then there are feminine men and women. So there are absolutely women out there who are like, yeah, man, I keep 5 or 6 dudes, and they seem to be thriving in that. And there's the reverse is true as well as everything in between, i.e. a monogamous relationship. So I'm trying to figure out, like, even with that line of thinking, we have to understand that maybe it's predominantly more of a male trait, but it's pretty close. It may be like somewhere around 51 to 49%, right? So out of 100 people, out of 100 men, right, 49 of them are feminine and recessive. 51 of them are aggressive and dominant.
Okay,
but I think that exists in both sexes.
Those numbers are more male are more dominant in feminine energy, for one, because they're, especially the black men, because they're targeting you guys. They're continuously trying to take your masculine energy from you any way that they can. So the uprise and all this female energy that our men have been having is based off of a westernized tune in. What you're being exposed to. You have to kind of, your household has to be damn near well put together for you to thrive in a masculine energy. So they're not just being born and want to fuck on men. Like, men are, that's not what it is. I just refuse to believe it. That's something else. It's in the water, it's in whatever they're doing. They want them to teach them in schools, and that's another thing. So we can accept men on men, we can accept women on women, transgender, and everything else. But everybody has such a problem with me stating men should be with multiple women and letting that be the case. We always have to equalize it. Well, if a man can do it, so can a woman. No, you can't. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. But I mean, that's the world that we live in.
Yeah, but I feel like that's more semantics, and like I said, I think it's closer, right? But if you go to the extremes, right? The strongest man in the world, the strongest woman in the world is not going to compare. Even though you can highlight certain cases with, someone who's untrained or, kind of on the smaller side fighting a very trained woman and losing, or something like the Battle of the Sexes back in the day with Billie Jean King and whatever the guy was, right? When he lost that tennis match to a woman, right? Well, like I said, I think this thing is a lot closer. You think it's a lot further apart, and that's fine. I think we will be better off moving on to really breaking down some of the cons about a polyamorous relationship, right? Because like you said, you had a few hiccups, but then you turned it around, right? And then you found something fulfilling for you. So do you feel like that process can be replicated? Can you just like, hey, avoid these things and poly could work for you too?
I would say to not move quickly as far as, let's say you're already in a relationship, like a monogamous relationship, and you haven't brought in another partner. I think that the man should get to know her before he brings her home to the other wife. Of course, she's going to do her own vetting to see if she fits as well for her. But I feel like before he brings it home and ends up unstabilizing his space, he should court her.
Now, is he supposed to tell somebody he courting her, or he just supposed to do this? How does this work? That don't really sound like that's gonna fly. But you tell me how that works.
Well, I've heard, because like I said, I'm not traditional poly. So in traditional poly, I've heard men say that, they mention it, they let them know like they're, hey, there's someone that I'm pursuing, not to go into too much detail about it, but they bring it up. Me, I don't feel like that's something that he has to do. He doesn't have to tell me that he's courting another woman. Like, I'll find out she exists when I need to know that she exists. I trust him. If I trust him to be in my body, if I trust him to be a man with multiple women, I should trust him in who he's picking. And when he's ready, he'll present her to me.
Well, but are you able? Sorry, go ahead, Rich.
What I was saying was, because you was talking about a monogamous relationship. So in a monogamous relationship, it's just me and you, right? So if you got this thought in your head, or this wherever this came from, if I go out and I'm speaking to Shorty, whoever she is, and vetting her, doing whatever you call it, you know what I mean, before we bring her into whatever it is that we're doing, wifey not gonna like this at home. I mean, not gonna like this at home, whoever, you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, how does that conversation go? How did you get that conversation to even start? You know what I mean? And then after you answer that, tell me who raised you.
I was raised by my mom and my dad.
Your mom and your dad, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, when I was saying monogamous, I meant like you're being monogamous in that moment because you haven't found a partner yet to bring in the house. Not that you're living the life stating that you're monogamous, but really you're poly underneath it. That's a different subject.
Okay.
But which part of it did you want me to answer?
Well, technically you did, but
okay.
I ain't trying to give nobody no how-to type shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're watching and you ask them. If you want to know how to, then ask. She's here. You know what I mean? You find out. But yeah, I was just kind of curious on how that conversation even went. You was talking about a monogamous relationship, and then you went into, vetting and outside the house. And like, hey, mommy inside the house ain't gonna be happy with that.
No, they're not. But I don't know. I feel like women have gotten so far gone on what our place is. Like, you shouldn't even be holding him to a standard of maintaining being monogamous. Like, we change, we evolve, like, there's how many women in the world? Like, women are beautiful. You're not the only one. Like, I just don't, I look at women and find them extremely beautiful for different reasons. How can I, and I'm a female, how can I put this type of pressure on a man to say only me, only gaze on me? Now, I don't want you to disrespect me. I want you to hold yourself at a high standard. I want you to give attention to something worthy. you know, because you value you. It has nothing to do with me, because at the end of the day, I don't own you. I don't possess you. So I want a man to be a man. And then if I'm trying to control you and your every move, how can I really see who you are to know if I should be here? If I'm setting up an environment where you don't have a safe space to be yourself, one day I'm going to get shocked with some things that I don't like. So I want you to always be the best version of yourself, so I can see you. I want to be able to see you.
Zilla, where is it that they can do all the drugs that they want to do? Where is that at?
Washington State, sir, I believe.
Washington State. Okay, so did the crime rate go down in Washington State?
I believe so.
Okay, so I feel like what she's saying, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, put it directly equal, but you know, being that they allow these people to do what it is that they're trying to do, directly affected the crime rate going down. It's kind of like, you know, you're allowing your man these choices, those choices, these honesties, and the crime rate, so to speak, as far as the bullshit within your relationship will probably go down. I'm just guessing. I don't really know.
I think so. Half the time, I don't even think a man would engage. I don't think it's something that you have to engage in. It's just that free space of if you see something that you like, something that sparks your interest, you don't have to hide it from me. You can talk about this, you know, if you want to talk about it, or if you want to go pursue and see if you like it on your own, you can do that. I mean, because trying to keep him from, if he's naturally going there, he's naturally going to go there. And him not being able to come home and be honest with you is going to cause a wedge within your household. Because if you're really his woman, you're going to feel a change. And you're going to be like, what's wrong? Oh, I'm fine. But you're knowing something wrong. But he's never really being honest with you because he knows how you're going to act if he says anything about it.
I want to go back to, man, because you're making some really cool points. And I'm trying to keep up. Look, so I talk a lot. All right. Rich is like a guard dog as far as the conversation goes. You'll hear him just straight up shut me up so we can move the show along. But so I try to, you know, circumvent that by writing some notes over here. And I want to go back to the idea of that this is a Western thing, right? We're going way back. That the Western idea is we've been pumped through media, I'm assuming you're saying, and other media, music, what it means to be a man, right? And to be more recessive. That's happened over time. And I'm telling you that the trans race in the Philippines, quite high. Me and Rich talked about before, like back in the day with wrestling in ancient Greece, that they used to do it butt naked, right? And then there would be an orgy to kind of celebrate afterwards. So these ideas have been around for a while. It didn't become a more patriotic male-centric idea until our wonderful brethren a little north of Africa up there in the European regions came down and started implanting this idea that no, men are more important. And then that's quickly changed to white men are more important over and over until the world believed it. Hence the British Empire and all those things. But I think we're missing the point that in ancient Egypt, women were able to get a divorce. They owned their own businesses, they traded with men, and they had multiple partners as well as men had multiple partners, but it wasn't by and large ever. Somehow, even in nature, it usually comes down to a coupling because it's just like, it's much easier to deal with. Because you can bet all you want, I guarantee you nothing is 100%, right? It's just scientifically. You never get 100% of anything. So I guess my first question, like going back through the conversation, is what happens when the relationship doesn't work out, right? If one person catches feelings or whatever, if children are involved, like how do you guys get around those issues?
If it doesn't work out, that's one of the things that I feel that I favor in poly. If it's a situation where the man is married, like legally married to one of the women, and then there's a third woman, what do you mean by not working out? Working out with the third woman that came in, or the wife is now, she doesn't want to do it anymore?
Well, either way, because I think yeah. Well, okay. So I'll put this caveat on there, right? either way, it's just the idea that coming into this relationship, we agreed on some things that now you've evolved out of, right?
Right.
And
Okay.
instead of taking liberties, and like you said, communication is a huge step, but that's in any relationship, right? Communication. Yes. But if you decide, hey, baby, let's bring this woman in and here are the rules, and then something happens, it don't even matter much. Something happens that changes your mind about the situation, and the man wants more. And you're saying, let that man be a man and let it go. Is that the way through?
Yeah. If he, I mean, how much on his plate does he feel he can take? Now, of course, I'm not going to tell him what to do, but if I feel like he's taking too much on his plate, I'm going to speak to him in a way that'll make him think a little harder about what he's saying that he wants to do. But yet and still, if when I'm done talking, his mind is set up, even if I don't know about it, he's going to do it. As a man, that's how I feel. A man is going to be a man. So to me, I just feel if it's too much for you, if it becomes too much for you, that's the conversation that you need to have. That what he's desiring is now becoming too much for you. Now, if you present it to him that this is too much for you and he wants to adjust and not dive into that, okay, then I guess continue. But if he's still saying that this is what he wants to do, now you as a woman, you have a decision to make. I just can't stand this concept of you're mine and you're always mine. No, it's not. You should enjoy it. You should water it and watch it grow while you have it. And, if it's time to release it onto wherever, let it go.
I feel like with court systems, they know that shit's too difficult to determine in court, so they ain't got time to do that many people with that many,
I feel like they're not letting us do it because they know how much wealth can be built off of it. 3 incomes under one roof. Even the fact of what he mentioned about children. You can't tell me that a children is not going to thrive in an environment where there's more love being surrounded. We live in a world now, it's 2022. Both of you got to go to work. Everybody has to be doing something. So usually the kid is left out in limbo, being driven by someone on a bus or, really not being tended to on their bike, taking themselves home where a predator or someone can kidnap them, rape them, left at school alone. In this setting, there is always someone available for the children. We don't need all 3 working. Even if 2 of them are going out to go get it, I don't have to worry now. I can hustle in peace because I know that my children are safe and protected. Whether it's her child from her womb, from my womb, he doesn't have to worry about a man. That's one less thing you have to worry about as a man already going off into this white man ran world. That's already on your back.
But I feel like
I'm gonna say I
that
agree.
could be.
It's fucked up. Am I wrong? I'm gonna agree. Okay. Keep going.
Wait, you saying you don't agree with what she just said?
No, I mean, I have to agree with the points that she made. She didn't make any bad points. So I gotta agree
right, but so here's the little thing that I'm gonna throw in. So you're talking about a very specific set of interactions, and I mean, you're saying like, hey, if there's more love, like what if 2 out of the 3 parents are just awful people? You know what I mean? Like the idea that, hey, if there's more love in the home, I think someone could thrive from that. Yeah, maybe, right? But how does that not exist in a monogamous relationship, especially one, the rare ones these days that are pretty traditional, where there's one income, where there's male or female, and there's somebody at the home. Like, like in Jurassic Park, right? Life finds a way. Whatever can go wrong, there's a potential to go wrong. No matter how well you vet, plan, communicate, it's all down to your perception of things, right?
Yes. But that's life.
Yeah.
It doesn't, whether you're monogamous, poly, gay, straight, that's life.
Right. But you're talking about it like as if poly is an advantage.
It is.
I would wager that, I mean, there are good and bad in monogamy. There's good and bad in polygamy.
Yeah. For sure. But she was being specific though. So I gotta, specifically, she spoke on, having somebody else in the household while 2 people can go out and get it without having a worry or a doubt in it. That is kind of, you can't really just do that. And most people pay for daycare. It's expensive. So there's a lot of different factors that she was kind of speaking on, directly and indirectly, that I kind of
Right.
gotta agree with, you know.
But what I'm saying is one person in the home while two people are out working versus one person in the home while one person's out working. I really don't see an advantage in that specific
The
way of saying it.
advantages for the advantages for the children. The advantage is coming home to an already cooked meal. The advantage is Kari coming home to a clean house, laundry
Right.
done. There's someone doing those things so that you don't have to. It's freeing up time for other things, whether it be to create more income, more peace, more time for yourself. It's just, and everybody's getting more time. When it's just me and you, I have to be worried about what I need to do for you and the kids and myself and the house and the bills. I'm fucking tired, and you want me to have sex. I don't want to.
But
have
doesn't
sex.
that?
Right.
Well, hang on. Doesn't that still affect you whether or not there's multiple people out doing it? Because if you're saying there's one person in the home, and hang on, one person in the home, one person out working in a monogamous relationship, versus one person at home and two people out working, is it just a matter of income of some sorts? Because I'm saying either scenario, there's one person at the home, two people coming home, too tired to do whatever.
But you're not gonna be tired though, because when you get home, you don't have to do those household chores. And the person that's home, she doesn't have to be home on a regular basis. She can work nights. Everybody can still do what they want to do. You could create a business in those hours that you're at home. You're just being available to make sure, those things at home are done. But it's not like your life is stopping. Like, we need you to stay here in the house. That's what you're here for. This is your job.
Right.
No. Do you have dreams? This is what I'm saying about picking the correct partners. First, you need to realize as a man, what are you trying to create? What vision do you have for the future? And you should select women that are mirroring those desires. It's a man's job to develop a woman. You ask her what does she want to do with herself, and you put her in position to be able to create what she envisions for herself. So based off what everyone is saying that they want to do, based off you picking correctly in your selection, I just feel like the balance will fall in order, and everybody will be getting to take care of what they need.
Right. Hang on. Let me get Rich in here, and then I had a follow up on that. Go ahead, Rich.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm gonna filibust for you. So I'm gonna move on from that. The idea that I don't really see. So when you say that man doesn't have to worry about another man, because you guys are in a poly relationship, and he knows that it's going to be just him and his two or more partners. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to figure out, why would he feel more secure than a monogamous man who's pretty sure of his wife? Right? So where's the advantage there?
Because, well, I guess he would feel more secure because, especially with another woman being there, she doesn't have to be there. She could have easily chose to go get her own relationship, or a relationship where you didn't have a woman. So she's choosing. That means there's something about you that she's choosing to be here. There's something that you're giving her, some pretty damn amazing for her to even want to be in this type of environment. And no woman doesn't want a man that another woman doesn't want. Let's be clear about that. Nobody wants the man that nobody doesn't want. That's why somebody's cheating with your man. He's sleeping with someone, right? And she probably knows you exist. So this whole idea of women not wanting to be with poly, it really is ridiculous. You'd rather be his secret. You cheating with him anyway. Women don't have morals. Women cheat all the time. All the time.
But look, I ain't trying to get into, I ain't gonna, not the finger pointing and shit like that. But let me ask a question, right? Let me ask you a question. So, do you think, and Gail, Zilla, this for you too. So, do you think if somebody's staying in their house, you turned 18, you live with your parents, you keep living with your parents, they like to call the nigga to live in the basement weird, and he probably is if he ain't got no job, he ain't working, he ain't, helping with anything like that. But say he is doing those things, you know what I mean? Say you stay in your parents' house 10, 15 years longer. you say help to the household, or do you think that hurts the household?
I think it helps the household.
Zilla, what you think?
You know how I am, man. Like I see both sides. I see both sides, and even with the idea when she talks
why
about.
I asked that question though?
Say again. Go ahead. Say it again.
You do understand why I asked the question, though, right?
Well, I feel like so we can move past the semantics of it all, right?
Well, I'm asking the question because if you cool with, the child staying in the home because you feel like, hey, this is making our house, this is making our home better. We're able to thrive more as a household. We got a constant, somebody to stay home and take care of the household. We got constant money coming in. We're able to switch up these roles from time to time. You know what I mean? If you agree with that point, if you agree with that point, then which we don't do that as a community either. Like lions, we kick a motherfucker out the house, you turn this age and your ass is done. You know what I mean? But I agree that as a community, we probably would do better if we keep them around, work with them, teach them, before we get them on out. I know Mexicans do it. I do know Mexicans do it. I know a lot of Mexicans
do it too.
They do that.
Well, a lot of, especially on the Eastern Front there. But I
don't see what the difference is in doing it with a woman.
And I'm not even fighting that. I'm just saying,
posing the question, since we asking the question.
Right. So here's my rebuttal to that. I don't think I can be as secure. If I'm an insecure person anyway, I don't think adding another person to it is going to help me be more secure. That's just one more person I'm worried about. Right? I'm
not talking about the insecure though. The insecure, and I know you're playing devil's advocate. I know we have to discuss every side of things, but I'm not talking about the insecure person. I'm not talking to the woman that doesn't believe in poly. I'm not talking to the woman that's an advocate for monogamy. Me, when I speak, I'm talking to men. I be honest. Like, who are you? Do you really want to be monogamous? Like, don't lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, stand in your truth. You are a man. What is she gonna do? That's what I'm talking to.
If that's the case, teach that from birth is what we got to start doing. If that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, but hang on, Rich. You're talking about teaching from birth, and we're not even sure ourselves.
I'm just saying, if that's what you're saying, you got to teach that from birth.
Well, right, and I feel like because you came from a poly home, right, Melanie?
Yes.
Melanie.
Well, I found out about my dad's other wife when I was like 12, 13. So I was raised with just my mother and my father,
So that's what I'm saying. And I assume, and sorry for cutting in there, I assume that you are going to teach this to any offspring that you and your partner may have, correct?
Well, my children are raised under a monogamous setting. I don't expose them to poly. But that's because I'm not a sister wife. We're not in home under the same roof. So therefore, that's just an understood thing that you're talking about. You're not talking about like a relationship all in the same house. That's not what you're talking about. Yeah, no, we're not under the same roof. But
that's not necessarily beneficial to you know what I mean? That's not as beneficial. See, I thought you were saying like everybody's in this house working together under one, you know what I mean, making this thing go. But if
I think she's saying relief-wise. Are you saying? Hang on, Rich. Are you saying that it's beneficial because he's getting what he needs outside the home? That way, that makes him a better man in the home.
No, he's getting what he needs in the home.
But if they're not under the same roof, like, what do you mean by? Because are they under the same roof or no in this particular scenario?
Well, I don't know. I was just talking. I don't even understand.
Oh, got you.
We were diving into.
No, because we talked about different types of polyamorous relationships, and one of the ones that came up is having the advantage of 3 adults in one home, right? Mm-hmm. 2 out working, 1 at home, and what the advantage is for that. But all I'm talking about is just the idea behind human nature in general, that nothing can be set in stone because we're so fluid. So that's why the whole ideal is to put your values in something that's, immovable, right? Something that's solid, something that's not going to be as fluid and flippant as human beings are. And I feel like the contract of marriage is we're gonna decide together to do this thing, right? Now, I don't have a problem with anybody in the poly community, and I love how you said communication is key and all that. I'm talking. Let's talk now about the ones who are just, hey, I'm not happy at home, so I'm gonna go cheat and go outside of the predetermined, um, I guess, contract, marriage, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. You want to talk about that?
Yeah,
that,
yeah. So
is that wrong or right?
no. I feel like, so my opinion is that it's wrong. I feel like you have the same opinion. If communication is going to be the key. I'll let you speak for yourself.
I don't think it's wrong. I mean, to me, well, I feel like if a man steps outside of the home on you, and you guys are supposed to be in a monogamous relationship, before you approach him about stepping outside the home, you need to ask yourself, were you on your duties? You need to ask yourself, why is he stepping out? If you're able to say, yes, I feel to my standard that I'm doing everything that he needed, then go approach him and figure out why he stepped out. But this isn't a setting for an argument. Usually it's ending in an argument and a how could you betray me type of thing. When we're not even trying to get to the root of why he did it in the first place. He may have discovered that he's poly. Maybe he was monogamous. People grow, people evolve. Like he doesn't.
How you telling you discovered you was poly?
Huh?
How you telling you just discovered you was poly? I didn't even know that was like a thing. You know what I mean? Like, but I feel you. If it's born at, it is what it is. Because truth is truth, right? So if you're being truthful with a person, then there's really nothing that can be said. But if out the blue, I just go to, I go do my thing. I go out and I come back and I'm trying to be honest. Or let's say I'm not. Let's say I mess up and then I say, you know what? I think I'm poly. Like, I don't know how to say this, but I think I'm poly. And then that's supposed to work. Like, I don't think that's gonna work.
It's
not at all, man.
But we're too busy worried about what's going to work. We need to be honest, because it's not. The more that you're lying, you're not giving someone the option to choose what they want to do. That's not fair. You're being selfish. So whenever you discover that that's who you are, you need to be honest. And there's not too much in trying to beat around the bush and trying to make it soft and cuddly. You know what I'm saying? Like, just spit it out. The hurt is going to come regardless. So.
Yeah, and you know what? That's interesting. You're saying the hurt is going to come regardless. Like, you can't believe that cheating isn't wrong, right? You can believe that, like, so, okay, I'm a sports guy, right? I'm playing football and someone gets in there, has the ball, I'm trying to tackle them. They run through the crowd, get in a truck, and they come roaring back through the crowd with the truck down the field, cross the goal line, and wants to declare that as a touchdown. I'm like, no, bro, we agreed on these rules before you brought that truck into this. Like, get out of here. That's wrong. You went against the rules. If you felt, man, I really want her, we need to have that conversation. And if we don't agree, we need to go our separate ways. I think that's my only gripe with that, right?
Yes.
Because even if, let's say you're in a poly relationship, if it was reversed, right? You're in a polygamous relationship and he decides, you know what? I only want to be with one woman now. I'm going to choose the other girl, not the primary relationship. We've got kids, everything. If that happens, there's no way you look at that as like, well, I mean, that's just man being a man. So I got to figure this out. No, I feel like you're going to be hurt.
At the place that I am in life, I would look at it like that. Now, the younger me would have gotten irate and ignorant and I'm about to hurt everybody. But to me, that's older now, that's how we looked at it. My approach, especially if we had kids, we need to come up with a calendar. We need to start scheduling where the kids are going to. Since I already know her, since we've been in this poly relationship already, I don't have to worry about the women that it means you're bringing around my child. We'll have to court your new wife if you decide to bring a new wife in. But you said from going poly to being monogamous, and he picked the other partner. I already know that partner. I know my children are safe. So now we just need to build structure for the kids.
Yeah, and that structure is important because so me being in a monogamous relationship, right? Just like you find value in a polygamous relationship, I find value in the monogamous relationship because, yeah, I do feel like we have those honest conversations of, yeah, I can be attracted for a hot minute to somebody, right? I could feel like, man, I wanted to talk, but she didn't feel like it tonight. Wouldn't it be great to go into the other room like, hey, you feel like talking? You know what I mean? Like, I can see that, but I feel like the value that we have is me saying, hey, I'm gonna marry you and no one else. I know I could, but I'm not going to, because I'm putting you on a higher level than add, any additions that we can make. Right? I still feel like if you place value in that, then you'll find the value, right? Because we talked before on this show, the brain is capable of over 60 quadrillion actions per second. But what it's not capable of is distinguishing between reality and fiction. It only does what you tell it to. So just like you're saying, Western ideology made this way, but it existed well before that in the East. And it feels like a sort of experiment that's being playing out. Now, as far as, why government has decided to get involved and say what you can and can't do, I do agree with you. Like, that's a sort of mechanism of control, right? And they have to do those things, right? Because they're not held accountable by the people. They're held accountable to their interests, the people, in Washington and on Wall Street and big companies. All of them, right? But that's because they figured out how to manipulate us so well, they don't have to do it by force anymore. The ideology is out there.
True.
But I feel like, I don't know, no, I think it's fine. As long as there's some harsh, honest conversation. Either way, whether you decide to, great. If you don't, great. And just keep it moving. I hope everybody gets to that. And I love how you're like, man, I don't let anything disturb my peace. If dude wants to dip right now, hey, the other chick is a pretty cool chick. I'm confident in that. Right?
Yeah, because I want men to value themselves above all. You're important. You matter. Your desires and what you want matter. We're starting to head into a feminist lifestyle, like as if the man is beneath us, and he is not.
Well, I think at the roots, right? I think the intention behind I hate to say original, because depending on what time period you go back to, right? Where we got to stand up for all rights, and injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. Black women, could you just stay put? We'll be back. We're coming back for you. We'll be right back. But we need, look. The cause is all about the cause, right? So depending on what time period, it's difficult to say, if feminism is a positive or a negative thing. It depends on how people wield that tool. Okay. But I do think there is something to be said in every type of relationship, right? Every type of relationship. If you can set self aside for the betterment of your partner, then on something that you both agree on valuing, I think there's real value in that, right? Yeah. But one of the things I want to point out with you, because you say, I'm talking to the poly women, I disagree, because when you say the idea that he's mine and all mine, like, that's ridiculous. You're kind of stepping on some other people's toes, right?
Really?
I mean, you said it that way on purpose, correct?
Whose toes am I stepping on?
People who are just like, I believe in monogamy, and he should be mine and nobody else's, and I'm his and nobody else's, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I'm saying the controlling, the women that are trying to like control a man and say that this is women love to say that men being with multiple women isn't normal. You guys are cheaters, you're dogs. Like, you shouldn't be labeled like that because you desire more than one woman.
Even if they are?
Even if they are what? A cheater and a dog?
Cheater, dog, like, and when I say dog, I'm not talking about like the relationships that you've come across in your parents' home or in your home currently. I'm talking about the ones who are just out here like, I'm in it for sex and I'm bouncing, right?
Yeah, but you can see that though. How'd you even get yourself that mixed up in that? There's always signs before destruction. That's why I'm not going for that. You know what I'm saying? It's the
seeking. It's what we all doing though, seeking some sort of validation, correct? Like, I was talking to my wife, like, all this social media is causing people to want to seek so much validation in the life. Like, that's just the latest thing, right? It was radio, like, hey, congratulations to Kristen, blah, 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 blah. They say my name on the radio. A newspaper clipping, right? Like, man, I remember back in the day, Mom used to cut the newspapers and, Jeremy Gales, well, at the time, just Jeremy Gales, but Jeremy Gales made blah, blah, blah plays on this, and that. There's his picture in the paper. Ooh. Hey, mama, look at this picture I just drew. It's a bunch of scribbles, but they're looking for that validation. It's just in us. And I like how you said that, hey, what if you double the validation? Like me in a monogamous relationship, I feel like you're saying, what if you double the love that you have from your wife right now? How much further along would you be in, right? I think my only problem is I don't trust people. I just don't. I have all this evidence that is contrary to trusting people. It is so, like, it feels so disproportionate, right? The idea that, look, we have less than 3,000 billionaires on the planet. If we, convince a third of them to just do something really nice, we could end world hunger. We could end water. But there's just people out there who just literally like, nah.
Right. You're right.
You know what I mean? And I'm saying, like, with all of your vetting, how can you tell? Like, especially since, like, even in cases like how we pick partners are supposed to be, like, a lot of it is sensory, right? It's touch, it's communication. But even before we were talking to each other, right? It was scent and, just, mannerisms and all these things. But now we've changed the way we smell ourselves so much. How can you even know that you're compatible until, maybe one afternoon, both of y'all worked out and came home at the same time? I was like, whoa, I'm either really into you or like, all the sprays and cologne, everything, deodorant. Like, deodorant literally changes our makeup down to the molecular structure. How can you be so certain of a vetting process when if I switch deodorants, I may have a different scent that repulses you later?
To me, that's the beauty of it. I don't have to stay. To me, you're more forced in staying in monogamy. If you're more forced to stay in that when you don't want to no more. It's more harder for you to get out of that to get out of poly, to me, because we all understand the beauty in change, the beauty in, okay, this no longer serves me. And actually, when you divorce this situation, we're not taking half of anything. You're leaving with what you've built and what you created. We've created several different sources of incomes. Everybody's leaving with something to go find whatever you want to do. You can't tell me it's not a lose.
If all parties agree, because whatever makes you want to separate, who knows? Hey, man, I cooked, 4 days a week. She only cooked 3 days a week. I think that entitles me to more money. You know what I mean? Because I'm just saying, you don't think that's a possibility that somebody's just wanting a little bit more just because?
No, because there has to be structure. So there's a joint account, and then there's separate accounts. So therefore, when you're going your separate ways, especially if all three are going their separate ways, or even one is just going their separate way, you have your own account, and then whatever is all joined in the main account, you'll get your half of that split from three, and you'll get your cut from that, and we'll part ways. Like keep it G, keep it keep it cute. You don't need to get messy.
Man, that's so easy to say in theory, but man, in practice, that is so difficult. So difficult. And yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, relationships, period, are difficult, right? Dunbar's number said we can maintain somewhere around 1,500 relationships and keep them up, right? But now we live in a world where, man, 1,000 people may scroll through and their problems and issues, positive or negative, whatever, is coming through. And I just don't think we're ready to handle that. And it just scares the life out of me that, shoot, man, like, what if I'm just like, you know what, I'm out, right? I like the security, like, hey, better or worse, sickness and health, like, this is us. We're going through it no matter what. And I get what you're saying. You can have that with poly, but there's more of an advantage. But man, it don't have to be messy. But humans are messy.
Yes.
I mean, even biblically, this thing is gonna get worse and worse until it's not here anymore. Like, come on, man.
Yes,
come on.
Everything gets messy.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like it. This is a great conversation, man. I love that we can do so amicably, right?
Yes,
but
I enjoyed you.
Yeah, man, this was really fun. This is one of those things of like, I'm trying to, we usually point out like, the government's involvement, right? We take these small concepts and blow them up and like, yeah, you got to keep this in mind. Now let's go back down to low resolution and have a generalized conversation now that we know what the stakes are, right?
Right.
But the ideal of what you're saying is like, I think for me, what you're saying in the word is community, We need to be going back to community. There's no way that grandmama, grandpapa, or son or daughter has to be kicked out the house because they've aged out, right? And it's a vicious cycle. If single parent mom did it, you got to get out at 18, and then dad's doing the same thing. That's a vicious cycle. And it is going to take more conversations like these to come to some sort of idea of like, look, you don't have to agree. Just don't try to stop me from enjoying my liberties and freedoms and whatever. And as a lady last week said, pay the what she says, I pay attention to the things that pay her or something. And I know I'm butchering that. Right.
Yeah,
but the other idea of like, hey, mind your business. Say again?
I said she probably said pay attention to the things that's paying you.
Right. And I think that's one of the things, man. We gotta do that, but community is so important. It's something that we lost. I mean, all those horror stories of like, yeah, I was 2 blocks away, did something crazy, and our neighbor Joe whooped my behind, and then he sent me home and called my mother, and then she got me too, right? And people were like, oh my goodness, how could you, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, there was something to be said about that community, poly or otherwise. Like, we gotta start taking care of each other around. And if we don't have trust, we can fill in the gaps of mistrust with contracts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Let's do it. We can do a business. If you don't do your part, okay, you pay this much and help me recoup, and then we move on. Right?
Tax.
But it can't. The answer can't be like, hey, don't talk to my kids like that. Like, no, lady, I just told them don't go in the street. Don't talk to my kids. Oh, okay.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But anywho, shout the people out. Let me give you the big screen. Sorry we lost Mr. Rich there. But go ahead, shout yourself out, and where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Melanin Legacy. If you want to tune in for more poly, you can go to Talk to Me Poly. That's talk with the number 2, me poly on Instagram as well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I was trying to get that up. Sorry.
Thank you.
There it is. Did I get it right? Talk to Me
Yes,
Poly, right?
Mm-hmm.
There it is. There it is. The lovely, the wonderful, the beautiful Miss Talk to Me Poly / Melanin Legacy. Thank you so much. Hope to see you again. Well, we're going to have to keep her on lock, man. That was some good conversation. Co-host. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And I hope whether you fall on the for or against monogamy, polygamy, whatever it is, let's just remember, like, there's something else at play here. We got to start taking care of each other. We can't be looking to government. We can't be looking to Wall Street, right? We can't be looking to the school systems. We have to figure out how to start demanding, not asking, right? Demanding that we get a fair shake in this world. And a lot of that comes from community. I mean, this idea that you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate for, is a real concept, right? I'm gonna tell you a quick story before I let y'all get out of here. My daughter started working with a company. It's a $1 billion entity, fast food, but nonetheless, it's a $1 billion company. And she agreed to a schedule. They agreed to a schedule. She was working a schedule, and then they tried to change it because she's a little 17-year-old girl. Like, what's she gonna do? Well, she went back and was like, hey, I'm sorry, but either we do the hours we negotiated for, or I have to leave. And you know what the company did? They listened and respected the schedule that she picked out. That's my 17-year-old daughter. And I'm telling you all, we have to start doing the same thing. If you don't like how the school is teaching your children, step in and start coming to these meetings, start getting involved in legislation and change the curriculum. If you don't think you have enough resources, man, let's get out here and fundraise together. We can start working on things like this. We can start demanding that jobs pay us fair wages so we can get these fathers back in the home. We can demand that they change the laws so we can stop being of the 75%, right, of incarcerated people. They live right here in the United States. That means that's more than there were slaves before the Civil War. And we as in Black people, make up a large percentage of that population, the largest percent. So let's start loving on each other. Let's get rid of these semantics and these little bitty, well, she shouldn't or he shouldn't. No. Let's figure out what we should and can do. I'm J-Zilla, Chulo Rich. Will be back with me next week. Thanks to our guest, Miss Melanin Legacy / at Talk to Me Poly. Yeah, man, join us next week, and I hope we can put on another show for you guys. Peace.
For you.